Okay. We'd mentioned yesterday, there's a Mishnah. The Mishnah tells us that Orlan Chutz Loretz, that the three first yields of a fruit tree outside of Eretz Yisrael, the Mishnah says halacha. It's halacha. So there's an argument. What is the meaning of the word halacha? Normally throughout Shas, whenever it says halacha, halacha means halacha l'mishbi Sinai. It was ordained at Sinai, it's a Torah law. And that's the way Ula cites Rabbi Yochanan, that's the way he interprets the Mishnah. Halacha, halacha l'mishbi Sinai. However, Rabbi Yehuda said, name of Shmuel, halacha, it's dino. So Rashi, it's a minog, it's something they accepted upon themselves. Meaning it's rabbinical. It's not a doraisa. So the Gemara asked the question, cited a Mishnah, that the Mishnah tells us that Orla Chutz Loretz is also. Orla, the free three yields of a fruit tree, in Eretz Yisrael, you're not permitted to eat, you're not permitted to benefit from. It has to be destroyed. Then it spoke about Syria. Aleppo. That part of Syria, which is very close to Eretz Yisrael, rabbinically, because it's so close, it could be confusing. So there's certain rabbinic stringencies which apply there. So to go into the orchard, and the guy is going to pick for you, although you're not going to know which he's giving you, whether it's Orlo or not Orlo, you're not permitted to go into the orchard. But let's say there's a fruit stand. Although it's very possible that the fruit in the fruit stand, it comes from that orchard, where it's a question whether the fruit is Orlo or not Orlo, you can purchase the fruit. But if it's Chutz Loretz, it's beyond the borders of Eretz Yisrael, where it will not be confused with Eretz Yisrael, you can even go into the orchard, and the guy can pick fruit for you. You shouldn't tell him to pick fruit, but it's not, you don't have to buy it from the fruit stand on the road, but you can even go into the orchard. He can go into the orchard and pick for you. So the Gemara asked the question, but Kloyim, but what about if you had grain planted in a vineyard outside of Eretz Yisrael? Then the halach is, you're even in Syria, you're permitted to go into the orchard and buy it from him. You don't have to buy it from the fruit stand or the vegetable stand, even in the orchard. You're permitted. Except you shouldn't tell him to specifically go pick and see where he's picking from. So the Gemara asks, according to Ula, name Rabbi Yochanan, that it's a Doraisa, Orlo. So therefore, we make a differentiation between Orlo and Kloya Kerem, because everybody agrees Kloya Kerem, Chutz Loretz, is what is rabbinical. So because it's rabbinical, we're not as strict. But if you're of the opinion that Orlo is rabbinical as Kloya Kerem is rabbinical, so why do we differentiate between Kalayim and Kloya and Orlo? Just as Kloya Kerem were more lenient, and we say you could even go, you don't have to buy it from the fruit stand, the vegetable stand. You could even go into the orchard, so why by Orlo must he buy it only from the fruit stand in Syria? He should be able to go even into the orchard. That's the question. In Syria, with more. No. Right now we're talking about Syria. In regard to Orlo, we're machmir in Syria. You can only buy it on the vegetables and the fruit stand. You cannot go into the orchard, right? Even though, right? No, I understand that. But in regard to Syria, we're differentiating between Kalayim, between Orla and Kloya Kerem. We're making such a differentiation, right? Why should you make such a differentiation? If they're both equally rabbinical, the way you treat one, you should treat the other. So why are we being more strict with Orla in Syria than Kloya Kerem, than the grains that were planted near the vineyard? We're being more lenient. So if you tell me that Orla on a Torah level, where I definitely know it's Orla, you're not permitted to eat it. So therefore, even if it's a question, I'm more machmir. Because the concept has relevance on the Torah level, even to Chutz Loretz. But if you're telling me that that it's sourced in rabbinics, it has no relevance to the Doraisa, so if that's the case, it's identical to Kloya Kerem. Just as Kloya Kerem is purely rabbinical, Orla is purely rabbinical. So what do I have to make a differentiation? So evidently, the base of the differentiation is whether it's Doraisa or Drabonon. That's Ula's question to Rav Yehuda. So good. That's the Gemara's question. No. Again, Yeah, it's going to suffix in a suffix or on a vade. So again, no, we said that Gemara says suffix or l'chutz lords. That's a lochlam should be seen. Vadai is osur, suffix is mutter. It's permitted, right? That we don't the rice and chutz lords according to Rabbi Yochanan. Orla vadi, definite orla. In chutz lords, outside of Eretz Yisrael is a Torah violation, Torah prohibition. Only correct. Shmuel says he quotes Shmuel's rabbinical. Rabbi Yehuda is quoting Shmuel. That what it says in the Mishnah, orla chutz lords, it's halacha, means it's something they took upon themselves. Okay, so it's a strong question. Seemingly the Mishnah makes a differentiation that indicates that there's a difference. According to Shmuel, there should be no difference. It's same suffix. It's just the way it's perceived. Same suffix. It's not, you're not seeing that he's actually picking from the definite orla tree, right? Let's say you see he's picking from the orla tree, or he's directly taking from the grain that's growing near the vine. Everybody agree. You're not permitted under any circumstance.
What's the difference between the street and the orchard?
Between the what? You're right. It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
What
But
are we even talking about?
no. So if you say orla is a doraisa, where it's definitely orla, correct?
Yeah.
So that there's a reason we want to be more machmir by a suffix rabbinically. Rabbinically, we're more machmir on orla than we would be machmir on kloyaker. Kloyaker, where the basis for it is purely rabbinical. So therefore, we're lenient, more lenient in the suffix situation. Okay? Because it's really suffix rabbanon.
But don't you have the same suffix whether you're in the orchard or you're on the street?
No, it's what it's seen. We're concerned it'll be breached. It'll be breached. When you buy it on the street from the fruit stand, what are people going to say? It may be, but it may not be. It's not the suffix. The question is not as blatant, because there are other sources. There are other sources where fruit could come from. When you're going into the orchard, and you know in this orchard there's saplings and there are older trees, it's very possible that the fruit is from the sapling, not from the older tree.
It's still a suffix, just a lesser suffix.
It's purely perception. It's the way it's perceived. It's perceived. So if you tell me, oh, there's a doraisa, so therefore, we're concerned that the doraisa may be violated, therefore more machmir. The perception from the fruit stand is different than the perception although it's the same suffix. No, it says because it says you have to buy it from the fruit stand on the road. You can't. Kalayim. You don't. You could go and the guy could sell it to you in the. No, that's Kerem Hanatur Yerek Nimkar Chutzlo Beoretz also Besurya Mutter. Wait a second. B'chutzlar, see, if you take a look in Rashi, I'm not just getting into the thing. Yesh lo Hashem second. Yori over kol v'lokid min aklai mam shemochel chav bevat shlo yilkot michaver atzam v'yemisa de orla b'chutzloretz. No, again, it's without Masuri to chutzloretz. In chutzloretz, if the guy would go in and pick for you, in chutzloretz, like Allah was saying, what do? You're permitted to buy it, but he can't pick for you. No, not Surya. In chutz, it's outside. Let's say outside there, it's far away. If you want to go into the orchard and the guy is going to sell to you in the orchard, even chutzloretz, you're not permitted. Orla, kloya kerem, you're permitted.
Correct. That's the difference.
So why are we making differentiation? Why? If they're both rabbinical, what you're permitted to do in one, you. So you see that exactly. Even though orla on a suffix also is permitted on the Torah level, orla on a suffix chutzlars is permitted. It's permitted. Yes or no? But nevertheless, there's a fence because we're making a fence for the doraisa. But kalayim, which initially the whole thing is purely rabbinical. No. Let's talk about chutzlars. The two chutzlars are permitted to even go into the orchard. No. No, it doesn't say that. Chutzlars, you're permitted to go into the orchard, and what was picked already, he could sell you. Not on the fruit stand on the road. No, you're not watching him pick it. But you're in the orchard. You're in the orchard. No, in Surya you can't even be in the orchard. It has to be on the fruit stand. Okay. Kalayim, you could see him picking it as long as you don't know what he's picking. You don't see him picking directly from right. So the question is, why do we make this differentiation? Evidently, the source of each, there must be a difference between the two of them. But if they're both purely rabbinical, why do we differentiate? I'm not getting involved why, but the Mishnah differentiates. If they're both based on a rabbinic enactment, we should make no differentiation. That it does tells me that they are different. El didoch. So Ula says to Rav Yehuda, but according to what you're quoting, that they're both rabbinical. Nisni ol zeb ze yorad v'lokeach. Both of them, he could either go in and just purchase from the goy in the orchard or in the or in the vineyard. O zeb ze yorad v'locate, or you could even tell him to pick, as long as you don't see where he's picking from. So he answers him, Homa Shmuel, Ravanon. Tani ozev ze yorid v'lokeach, ozev ze yorid v'locate. Says you're right. My text reads differently. The text reads that they're the same. What you do by one, you do by the other. So according to Rabbi Yochanan's text, Ula's text, it made the differentiation. So the differentiation clearly confirms what Rabbi Yochanan is saying. That one's halachah mishusina, the other's rabbinical. But he says Shmuel's text reads differently. It says either that they read the same, but it's either they're both l'chumra or they're both l'kula, as we'll see in a minute. He says, Nisni ozev ze yorad v'lokeach, but you're permitted to go in and you purchase. Ozev ze yorad v'locate. Hama le Shmuel Ravana, Tani. Rav Shmuel said to Ravana, who was a student of his, Tani, the text should read, Ozev ze yorad v'lokeach, Ozev ze yorad v'locate. Okay? Barbary de Ravana, because they're both rabbinical.
And they should be the same.
There's no basis to differentiate between the two of them. Right. So either we're equally machmir or equally lenient on both. It's not corrupted. It's not corrupt. That's not called. It's not corrupted. It's not corrupted. It's a question what it reads. The word corrupted is only used when something is totally wrong. We're correcting the language. Are you human flaw to be strict? Wait a second. You're missing the point. I'm not saying you're missing the boat, but you're missing the point. Okay? And I've been kind over here. Okay? Either it says that both of them you're permitted to go into the orchard or you're permitted to go in the vineyard. But you can't tell them to pick on your behalf. Wait, so we're not differentiating. But they're limiting it to only buying it in the orchard or the vineyard, that's l'chumra. That's being strict on a rabbinical level. Being more lenient on a rabbinical level means you could even go into the orchard and say, pick for me. So good. So that's the same. So they're the same, but the question, are they the same on a more stringent level or on a more lenient level? They're both the same. If we're not differentiating, that means one's not more stringent than the other. Shmuel just answered no. He says the text reads differently. We're already in the answer. Shmuel answered already. I ask you how much your procedure costs. You tell me. Then I ask you again. I just told you what the procedure costs, right? Exactly. So you understand now. Now you're getting it. Okay.
If you have an orchard with grown trees and saplings, what are you allowed to do? You're allowed to pick.
No, and now you're not sure which tree he picked from.
No.
Is he picking from?
You can go in and pick yourself from the right tree.
Of course you could pick. No, but you don't know which is the rule. You don't know how old. What about you don't know how old the tree is? That's the problem. Okay. Marbri de Ravona Masla Lakula. Marbri Rana, when we equate both Orla and Kloya Kerem, they're both equally lenient. Meaning you could even tell them to pick. Zev is a Yori Velocate. Ubavachlo Yukapayat. As long as the Jew doesn't do the picking himself, it's not a problem. Omale Levi Lishmuel. Levi says to Shmuel, Aryuch. He refers to Shmuel as Aryoch. What is the terminology? Aryoch? Sapek li vani echol. Meaning, provide me with fruit and I'll eat. Just don't tell me where it's from. So, Rashi says Aryoch. Aryoch, there's a number of reasons why he's called Aryoch. The Gemara says in Shas, whenever there's a machlokes in Rav and Shmuel, throughout Shas, halacha kerav b'isuri, halacha k'shmuel b'dini. Right? That's what it says throughout Shas. If it's a monetary discussion, we always rule like Shmuel over Rav. Whenever it's a prohibition discussion, the halacha we always rule like Rav, not like Shmuel. Correct? Howard, you hear what he said?
Yeah.
When it's dini means dini mominus. If it's monetary, we rule like Shmuel. If it's prohibition, we rule like Rav. Now, what does it say in the pasuk? Melech b'mishpat yamid oretz. A king, through justice, through establishing laws, that's how he establishes the stability of society. So dini mominus, that's crucial for the function of a society. Monetary. The monetary law should be in place. So since we rule like Shmuel in regarding to the dini mominus, monetary laws, therefore he refers to him as Aryoch. Aryoch comes to the word Ari. Aryoch, Ari. He's like the lion. He has the upper hand.
Is this considered monetary or prohibition?
No, he's this is not monetary here. He's not monetary. This is not monetary. This is the reason we refer to this title is because he is crucial to the function of society.
I'm just asking, how would you characterize?
This is not monetary. Is it permitted? Is not permitted? Right? Are you permitted to eat it? You're not permitted to eat it. No, Levi is Shmuel to pick on his behalf. We'll talk about it in a minute. Okay? I got a double liability here. I have Joe Kranzler preparing the Gemara with him, and he has Hot Scroll. Okay? So Levi said to Shmuel, Aryoch sapik li vano echel, meaning, I'm not interested where you get it from. You pick it, you give it to me. You pick the I don't know will not hurt me. Right? Because we're saying Sofik Orla. Orla is only rabbinical. Orla itself is rabbinical. Sofik Orla is what? Is doubly permitted. So therefore you pick. Don't tell me what it is. So Ula could even pick from what? But Shmuel could even pick from Orla. As long as I don't know, just give it to me. Wait a second. We said that's Rabbi Yochanan's version. That's Rabbi Yochanan's version of the Mishnah. Shmuel has a different version of the Mishnah. Shmuel's version of the Mishnah is that you can. We're not differentiating Kloya, Kerem, and what? And Orla. And we're going Lakula. Leniently. It does not be a non-Jewish field. Even a Jewish field. No, makes no difference. Makes no difference. Does make a difference. And provide it to another Jew where the Jew doesn't know.
You had no idea where it's from, and he gave it.
Because to him it's a suffix. It's a chiddush. We have a principle, lifni v'lusito mirshol. Right? I have meat marinated in milk. And I'm not sure, was it marinated in non-dairy creamer, or was it real milk? Why are you not permitted to eat it? Rabbinically. You know something? I tell a Jew says, I'd like to eat it. No problem. Could I tell him something which is not true? But it's not clear what it is. Right? It's a question. Is it milk or is it not milk? What is it? Either way, it's rabbinical. Am I permitted to provide it? Or you have any rabbinic bishul akum, right? Something that was cooked by a non-Jew. Was it cooked by a non-Jew? Was it cooked by a Jew? At worst, it's rabbinical. And I know it was cooked by a non-Jew. Am I able to provide it for a Jew? Because the Jew doesn't know? What?
You can't eat it yourself.
So Here, Shmuel can't eat it either. That's what we're discussing now, right? I mean, what's the rationale of this? Sapikli. Wait a second. Like I said, it's easy to ask a question when you don't understand. Okay. So how do we differentiate? Now, let's talk about the Dorai. What did the Torah say? Well, let's look at Rabbi Yochanan. Va'yi or law is also on the Torah level. It's not our law. Sufik, the Torah says it's permitted. The Torah went out of its way. It's permitted. On a rabbinical level, it's not Sufik Drabana Lakula. It's not Sufik Drabana Lakula. Our law on a rabbinic level is an extreme chumrah. If it's a Sufik, it's permitted, not because Sufik Drabana Lakula. Yes, otherwise you don't have to tell me Sufik is Lakula. That's a regular Sufik Drabana Lakula. You understand? Here they said this itself was an extreme stringency, even when it's definitely the Orla. Because it's Chutz La'aretz. They said if it's a Sufik, it's permitted. So therefore, as long as it's a Sufik, that's not called providing you something which because I know differently. Right? That's how we're differentiating. If you have Basa B'chola Drabonon, you have Bishul Akum. Rabbinically, you're not permitted to eat it. I have a Sufik. Why am I permitted to eat? Sufik Drabonon L'Kula. Right? Because whenever you're in doubt regarding rabbinic law, you always deal with leniently. Here, the enactment was initially that Sufik is permitted. You understand? Yeah. So therefore, the whole structure of the law is a much more lenient structure. Therefore, if the one who's being given the food, the fruit, doesn't know its source, although the Jew who's giving to him does know its source, it's not a problem. It's not lefnei v'lusita michshol. It's not putting a stumbling block before you. Because I know I'm feeding you non-kosher, and I know and you don't know. Okay, let's go further. I'm not going to get bogged down on this. Rav Avia, Rabbi Bar Chonos, Savku, Sipuki, Ladodi. Each of them, they fed the other. Each one knew what it was, but each one fed the other one, the Orla, the Sufik Orla. Amri Charifi Pumpedisa, the sharp ones, the sharp minds of Pumpedisa. Pumpedisa was one community in Bovel. They had said, the Charif Pumpedisa, Rashi says, who were the Charif Pumpedisa? They were brothers of Reb Chia. That's Efa of Avimi b'nei Rochba. They said, Ein Orla b'chutz la'aretz. They disagreed the whole principle. That we say that Orla is forbidden on a rabbinic level, no such thing. There was never a rabbinic enactment that Orla is not permitted. You're permitted to eat of the first 3 yields of the fruit tree. That's what Charifi de Bedisa said. Sholcha Reb Yehuda coming to Reb Yochanan. So Reb Yehuda presented what they had said is sharing to Reb Yochanan. Reb Yochanan is in Eretz Yisrael. The Charif Pumbedis and Babel say our law doesn't exist in Chutz La'aretz. So Rav Yehuda shares with Rabbi Yochanan what they said. So Sholach Lei, so immediately he sent word, Susom Sveike, Va'avid Vador, Va'hachri Zaperusem Shetuna Genizo. He says, normally, although Sufik is permitted, as we're saying, it's permitted. But sometimes even something's permitted when people, they totally breach the law and they reject it. Even though it may not be the law, we have to be so strict that even what's permitted, we have to prohibit. So Susom Seiko, you have to seal, you have to shut off the Sufik. Va'avid Vador. Va'hachriza per se, and you have to announce, proclaim regarding their fruits, Shetuna Gnisa, all the fruit. What they said is permitted, it also has to be destroyed. Everything has to be destroyed. V'cholo Omer, this is Rabbi Yochanan speaking, Ein Orla b'chutz la'aretz, anyone takes on the position that Orla has no relevance to outside of Eretz Yisrael, chutz la'aretz, lo ye'linim v'neched. He should not have a descendant, descending from him. This is Rabbi Yochanan reacting to this. Mash chevel begorel kal Hashem. Normally, when you measure property, in the old days, you took a rope. That's how you measured property. Meaning, there should not be a question of a descendant sharing his inheritance, because he's not going to have a descendant to share the inheritance with. There's nobody he's not going to have an heir. But factually, Charifi the Bava Pumbedisa said, their Orla, it was never a rabbinic enactment They're firstly, they're of the opinion, Orla Chutz Laretz, it's not even Drabonon. The rice, definitely not. But it's not even Drabonon. Somebody asks, V'inu Kamat Savruah. So who do they follow? K'yod Ditanyo. They follow the position of this brisa. Tosefta, Reb Lozer Reb Yossi Omer. Listen to the tracing the source. Reb Lozer Reb Yossi Omer Mishum Reb Yossi Mem Durmasko. Sh'omay Mishum Reb Yossi Aglili. Sh'omay Mishum Reb Yochanan Ben Nuri. Sh'omay Mishum Reb Leza Agodol. Hear this? The line up here. So Reb Lozer, Reb Yosef, name Reb Yosef ben Damascus, said the name Reb Yosef Glili, who said the name of Reb Yochanan ben Nuri, who said the name of Reb Elazar Godless, Reb Elazar ben Horkenes. Ein Orla b'chutz loretz. His position is, his Masor is, Orla doesn't exist in Eretz. Halach Mishinai not even rabbinical. There was never a rabbinic enactment of Orla chutz loretz. And definitely not a Doraisa. So who are they ultimately, who are they tracing it back to? To Reb Elazar ben Horkenes. Well, the Gemara is going to ask in a moment. What does our Mishnah say? What's Reb Elazar's position on Chodosh? Reb Elazar's that what? That it does apply to Chutz Loretz. And what does he say? The Tanakh says Orlo Kloim is Chutz Loretz. Doesn't say Chodosh. What does Reb Elazar say? Af Chodosh. So what does Af mean? I concur with the Tanakh. However, I'm adding. Not only that, even more. So the Gemara asks, how could you tell me Reb Elazar ben Horkenes is of the opinion that Orla doesn't exist in the Chutz Loretz, is not applicable Chutz Loretz, Vonatanan, Reb Elazar Omer Afa Chodosh. It says, in addition to those two, there's a third. Right? So it's not possible to say what you're saying. So how could you tell me that they base it upon this Tosefta? If Reb Elazar is the source, then there's a contradiction with the Mishnah. On that he says, Tini Chodosh. Reb Elazar, you have to alter, you have to modify the text of the Mishnah. Not Af Chodosh, Chodosh. Af would mean, in addition to what you're saying, I add a third. Only Chodosh. Chodosh is a Chutz Loretz. I argue. What you tell me, Orlo and Klaim's Chutz Loretz, Chodosh, only Chodosh. Only in Eretz Yisrael. So the Harifi, the Bavel, the Pumbedisa, these rabbis, their position is based upon Reb Elazar ben Horkenes. Reb Elazar ben Horkenes says only Chodesh is a Chutz Loretz. Orla doesn't exist in Chutz Loretz. There's no provision of Orla. Because we don't follow the Mishnah. His text, again, we said before also, when Ula quoted Rabbi Yochanan, what did he say? How did he prove the case? It says in the Mishnah. The Mishnah differentiates between Orla and Kloya Kerem. So what does he answer? No, Shmuel has a different text. They're the same. You have to alter the text. Right? So again, going back to text. Over here, our Mishnah says Af. So what's a viable source? The Mishnah is the viable source. If this is Af Chodosh, that means Reb Elazar is of the opinion Orla is an effect. So what is your source? Tosefta, evidently it's incorrect. They go and they modify the what? They change the Mishnah. They change the Mishnah language. They omit the word Af. So if you take a word Af, that means he's arguing with the Tanakh. Right? But again, Rabbi Yochanan's text, his Masorah, the Mishnah doesn't read as that Mishnah reads. So if that's the case, he reacted so vehemently against that position, which says Orla has no application to Chutz Loretz. Okay? Omer Ravasi Omer Rabbi Yochanan. Ravasi is named Rabbi Yochanan. Orla b'chutz loretz haloch l'm Sinai. Right? Again, before we had Ulas quoted Rabbi Yochanan. This is Ravasi. Cites Rabbi Yochanan. Orla chutz loretz haloch l'm Sinai. And that's the way he interprets the Mishnah. Halocha means haloch l'm Sinai. Omer le Reb Zera Ravasi. So Reb Zera asked Ravasi, if Orla is a Doraisa, we have a principle Safik Doraisa l'chumra, right? Ivotanya Safik Orla Bo'oretz Osur. The Mishnah says if you have a case of Orla which is questionable whether it's Orla or not in Eretz Yisrael, we go to Chumra. Osur. Besuria Mutter. In Surya Aram Tova, it's permitted. But how could it be? But if it's Doraisa, why do we differentiate between Eretz Yisrael and Chutz La'aretz? We have a principle Safek Doraisa L'Chumra. That's the question Reb Zeir is posing to Ravasi. Evidently, there's something faulty here. It should be Safek Doraisa L'Chumra. We shouldn't differentiate Eretz Yisrael and Chutz La'aretz regarding a Safek. So why does the Mishnah make such a differentiation? He was taken aback for a moment. He was silent for a moment. Right? You're startled. Amalei emakach. So, and then he responded. He said, emakach nema sveka muter. Kach nemar. Just as the Aloch Mishini says, vada yizosur chutz loretz, kach nema sveka muter. Identical Aloch Mishini is Safek is permitted. That is the Halacha Mishnai, that Safek is permitted. So we discussed this. Vado osur. Safek is permitted. If it's definitely oral, it's not permitted. It's osur. Okay? The Halacha Mishnai. So we discussed this yesterday. If you're of the opinion Safek the rest normally is l'chumra on a Torah level, so I need the Halacha Mishnai to tell me. In this case, Safek is permitted. We asked according to the Rambam that the Rambam Safek D'Oraisa is only l'chum midrabanon. What do we need the local Mishnah that Safek is permitted? Right? Every Safek is permitted on a Torah level. So we explained because when the Torah says it explicitly, rabbinically, they're not empowered to legislate offense in that situation. What he does have this tradition. According to Rabbi Yochanan, he has the tradition. That was Shmuel's position in Rebbe Eliezer ben Urkenis. According to Rabbi Yochanan, that's it. And this is the way we rule. Okay? But then you have to change the text of the Mishnah. Well, of course. Exactly. And that's why Rabbi Yochanan rejects that. No, he had to think for a moment. It's interesting. Evidently, the question was a question to him. Sometimes you have instantaneous recall, and sometimes say, it's a good. Factually, it's this. Factually, it's a doraisa. So why is Safek permitted? He had to think for a moment. So when you think for a moment, something that then you clarify it. It's the halacha mishnah is that Safek is permitted. Definitely, it's a good question. It's phenomenal. He was silent to recall. Just heard a story yesterday. This person today is. He's a Rashiv, he's already not well, he's in his 90s. And he was a Talmud Rabbaran, Kotler, Zech Tzadok Levrocha, when he first started Lakewood. And Rabbaran gave a shir. And when Rabbaran gave a shir, he had to be at a certain level to understand the shir. And this person was 19 years old at the time. And he goes up to Rabbaran, and Rabbaran, and he says, he cites a certain source which seemingly would refute the shir. Refute Aaron's shir, which was very unusual. And so when he presents the question from a certain source, and he's 19 years old, and Reb Aaron smiles at him saying, I hear what you're saying. It seems to be you're right. And he takes out his pen, because he had written it up already, the lecture that he'd given Reb Aaron, to strike it, to write the basis for the refutation on the shir. And he sees this bocher smiling, He proved Rav Aaron wrong. Very few people proved him wrong in anything he said. And his mind was like a computer, Rav Aaron's mind. So when he saw him smiling, he felt that Rav Aaron valued him. And Rav Aaron accepted. He wasn't didn't show him that he was, that he was disappointed, he was proven wrong. So when he saw him smile, he put the pen back in his pocket, and it was a fountain pen, not a ballpoint for those years. And Rav Aaron says, factually, it's not a refutation. It's not a refutation. And he put it back in his pocket. And he explained to him why it wasn't. But again, it was so advanced, he couldn't really grasp why he wasn't. So, because he wanted to give the student a sense of value that superficially it sounded like a refutation. At least that, to that degree, he was able to understand it. Okay? So it wasn't a question there, was a question of recall. Rabbi Aaron knew immediately he wasn't right. But to give the student, the bocher, value that, to think that he was able to best Rabbi Aaron, that would give him a certain sense that he's a person of, he's already advanced sufficiently. That's what sometimes when Howard asks me a question, I don't respond immediately. I let him think that he's right. Then afterwards I show him that he's wrong. Okay. Omer Ravasi, Omer Rabbi Yochanan. Ravasi said name Rabbi Yochanan. Loken al kalayim devar Torah. That if a person goes and plants kalayim chutz loretz, one receives malchus. Right? This is difficult. I mean, according to no one. Everybody, the Mishnah said before, kalayim chutz loretz, you plant grains in a vineyard in chutz loretz, it's rabbinical. And Rabbi Yochanan says, and there is no source that it's a doraisa in the Mishnah. Loken al kalayim dvar Torah, amalei Reb Lozer, Reb Yosef, Anatanan. How could you say loken? We learned explicitly in the Mishnah, hakalayim midivri sofrim. It's only rabbinical, right? And here there's no question what it means. Divri sof means rabbinical. Lokasha. Kan b'kloya kerim, kan barkova silon. Interesting. Meaning, chutz loretz, if you plant grain, in Eretz Yisrael, let's say you want to plant wheat near a vineyard, and there's not a sufficient distance. That's called kloya kerim. There's a Torah violation. You're not permitted to benefit from the produce, from the grain or the grapes that grow, because they're within a certain proximity of one another. Chutz loretz is rabbinical. What about if you want to crossbreed two crops, a tree? You want to graft a branch of another species onto a tree in chutz loretz. So that's also kalayim. That's a Torah violation. Meaning, kloya kerem, that's drabanan. Outside Eretz Yisrael. But harkovas ilon, grafting onto a tree, that's a doraisa. So therefore, if a person violates that, he's subject to malchus. It's a different prohibition. The Gemara is going to cite a pasuk. Like, if seemingly, I mean, the source for one should be the source for the other. But we'll see, but there's an exclusion. In regard to kloya kerem, the Torah says explicitly, or alludes, it's only your field which is rightfully yours. When it speaks of kloya kerem, it said it's only Eretz Yisrael, so chutz loretz, which is not yours, it's only you came upon it, therefore it doesn't apply in chutz loretz. Kiddush Shmuel, Doma Shmuel, when the Torah discusses the laws of crossbreeding, whether it's crossbreeding animals, crossbreeding crops, the Torah says, Es chukosai tishmoru, you should observe my statutes. Chukim shechakakti loch, the statutes that would legislate it for you, kvar. What does it say in the pasuk? Behem chalo sarbiya kalayim. You should not crossbreed animals. Sodcho lo sizra. What does it say? Sodcho. Your field you should not plant kalayim. What is the context? Sodcho, which is your field. Right? Sodcho means the field that's rightfully yours. So that's in Eretz Yisrael. That's rightfully yours. Ma behemtcho b'harvo. So the prohibition of the animals crossbreeding species of animals. Aschotcho b'harkova. Uma behemtcho noi bein boretz bein chutz loretz. Crossbreeding animals is not mitzvah tluya boretz. It's not agriculturally related. So that applies whether you live in Israel or live outside of Eretz Yisrael. Avsotcho noi bein boretz bein chutz loretz. So that also it's applicable even outside. The Torah juxtaposes one to the other. Elohok sotcho. But the connotation of sotcho is what? The field which is inherently yours, rightfully yours. To be continued. Kaddish.